You know the time we took the long way home when we were on our own.
The animation that you just saw was my part 13 for Jordan Sweeto's Can't Wait For You map. Since I assume most of you came from the map and are new to my channel, hello and welcome. This video is going to be a sort of my animation process for making the animation you just saw. I'm going to dive deep into my creative process, starting from brainstorming and sketching, to storyboarding, making an animatic with keyframes, drawing line art and in-betweens, coloring the animation, and making the backgrounds. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, then keep watching. Here are the timestamps for the video, so if you want to skip to a certain part you're more interested in, then here are the times to skip to. Anyway, let's just get right into step 1 of my animation process, which is brainstorming.
Okay, so when I joined this map, the first thing that I did was I started to sketch out the characters in my sketchbook, as you can see here, to give an idea of what they would look like in my style, and also to give kind of a base for me when I'm doing my animation, so that my character doesn't get super warped as I go along in the animation, if that makes any sense. So the first thing that you will see are these two sketches. These are the first two sketches that I did. So I believe that the two characters are Jordan and his girlfriend Wolfie, and this is just what they look like in my style. My part was part 13, and the lyrics for that part go, "You know that time we took the long way home when we were on our own." So for my part, I had a very clear idea of what my animation would look like, so I just wrote it all down here while it was clear in my head.
Quickly, before I move on to the storyboard phase, you may notice that the storyboard I'm about to show you is different from the final animation. I did end up changing my idea for the animation, so keep watching to see why.
If I turn over the sketchbook, you will be able to see, here is my storyboards for this idea. So the first storyboard right here, Wolfie and Jordan are talking. They're both walking home, and some extra details. Jordan tells a joke to Wolfie, and then Wolfie laughs, and then the next scene, the camera zooms in on Wolfie, as you can see those arrows, and she looks away and smiles and blushes because, you know, she secretly likes Jordan, and then, but it zooms in so much that you can't see Jordan anymore. When it zooms out, Wolfie's looking back, and you can't see Jordan. It's like, where did Jordan go? Jordan's missing. And then the next scene, now she's like looking at her, she's looking behind her, she's looking in front of her, like, where did Jordan go? And some kind of bush to the front-ish side of her. It's a rose bush. Jordan jumps out and it's like, boo! But it's not like a scary boo, if you know what I mean. It's more of a playful boo. So obviously, since Wolfie is startled, she's like, ah! But then she's like, oh, it's just Jordan, and he kind of laughs now, and then Jordan hands Wolfie a flower, actually a rose, from that rose bush. So now they kind of both know that they like each other, so he hands it to Wolfie, and then they walk home together, Wolfie holding the rose, and them holding hands, and yeah, they might be walking off into the sunset with their kind of silhouettes, you know, something like that. And then I also wanted to add that extra scene in there where Jordan is singing, and he will be singing the lyrics on our own. So then, using this storyboard, I decided to make an animatic out of it.
You know the time we took the long way home when we were on our own.
So that was the animatic for my first idea for this animation. I'm going to first start by talking about how I make my animatics. Basically, my animatics are all the keyframes of the animation. I don't have to make the line art smooth like the final animation, so I sketch in all the important poses so it's clear what the animation is about and what the things in the animation are doing. I find that the more clear you make the animatic, the easier the animating is. I try to make it clear what path the things in the animation are going in, so that when I animate, all I have to do is redraw it to smooth out the line art and add in some in-betweens to make it smoother and make the things seem more alive. So some of you may be wondering why I didn't use this animatic for my final animation. And the first reason is, and some of you may agree, you can't really tell what's going on. Everything goes by so fast and it's really unclear what the story is. Furthermore, the idea for my animation was that they were walking home, but with the way I showed it in the animatic, that was also really unclear. So as you can see, the ending is blank, and that's because at that point in making the animatic, I realized it just wasn't gonna work. So I went back to my sketchbook to work on another storyboard with a new idea in mind.
So after I realized that Animatic would not work, I was kind of like, I don't have much time now. So as you can see, this storyboard is a lot more rough than my other one, but it still worked. So I tried to address some of the problems with my first idea. So one of the problems was there was too many scenes. There was like 8 or 9 scenes, I don't remember exactly, but there's too many scenes. So what I had to do was like make there less scenes. So here there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenes. And like the first animatic, you couldn't see like what was going on because it was going by too fast. This one, it's still going by pretty fast, but you can, I think, kind of get an idea of what's going on, which makes all of the effort of animating a little more worth it. Another one of the problems was you couldn't really tell that they were walking home, and to make that effect, you would have to like have the background kind of moving, like, and that would include some like 3D effects, which is difficult for me. I'm not very good with 3D stuff, so I decided to change it, and now I did like this side view of Wolfie and Jordan, and they're walking home to like a sliding background, and there's gonna be like a walk cycle. So they're walking home, they're still talking, and then they come upon this kind of, to the side of them, there's going to be like a lot of very tall bushes, so there's not going to be houses there anymore. They're walking by houses on the way home, and then they're going to encounter some like really tall bushes. I don't know if you've seen those before, but then Jordan is like, oh, and he kind of points and he's like, that's that secret path that I know about. He wants to take her on the secret path. So moving on to the next scene, he kind of just opens up these bushes and it reveals this secret path. So then he lends like a hand out and is like, come with me. And then Wolfie, she does that, like, I don't know if you've seen it before, but in cartoons when there's people with like the long eyelashes, they do that like really, I don't know, slow blink kind of, where like the eyelashes are kind of like falling behind their eyes. So Wolfie does one of those things, and then after that she kind of gives her hand out and she's like, okay. So they're both gonna walk down that secret path. And then for the next scene, Jordan, this is like the first idea, Jordan is singing on her own, and then again, like the first idea, this is a little different though. They are walking home, holding hands towards the sunset, but this is on the secret path. So yeah, that's for the outro music of my part. So that was my idea for my part. And then next, what I did was I made this new idea into an animatic.
You know the time we took the long way home when we were on our own.
So that was the animatic that I ended up using for my animation. Since I already described the general idea for the second idea during the storyboard phase, I don't think it's necessary to repeat that here. And I also already talked about how I make my animatics during the animatic phase of the first idea, so let's just move on to the actual animating part.
You know the time we took the long way home when we were on our own.
So after the animatic phase comes the actual animating phase. During this phase, I align all of the keyframes, and I also add in Inbetweens to make the animation more smooth. Okay, so as you can see, I currently have my animation program Toonboom opened up, and I have the animation right here. So if I just scroll through, you can see here all the frames. Let me just quickly show you. So the way that I do animations are I split the character into a lot of layers, which just help me be more organized, and actually it helps me have to do less frames. So for example, like the character Wolfie right here and the walk cycle, I split her into the head frame, a head layer, an arm layer, body layer, the other arm layer, and both of the legs. And I did the same thing for Jordan. He also has a mouth layer because he's talking. So yeah, and the other thing that I did for this animation specifically was I broke up the different scenes into different folders. That just helped me stay more organized. You can see here all of the scenes. And I also wanted to break down one of the parts of my animation. So if I just kind of scroll through right here, then I'm going to get to this part here, which is where Jordan is singing. I just wanted to kind of break down like how I animate this part. So first, let me go ahead and show you the animatic. So here is the first keyframe in this part. Jordan, he has his eyes closed, he's leaning into the mic, and he's also leaning to his right a little bit, and he's just singing down into the mic. And then for the next keyframe, Jordan, he's leaning a little more to the left now, and he's looking up right into the camera, and he's also singing into the mic. So that was basically the keyframes for this, and then I translated this into animation. So here we go. I got 2 layers. The first layer is just basically the entire body, and then the other layer is just the mouth, because there's lip sync for this one. So the first frame that I got here, I just kind of traced the keyframe to kind of clean up the line art for that one. And then I kind of wanted to have a slow in, so when he's going from the first keyframe to the second keyframe, he kind of starts out slow and then he gets a bit faster. So as you can see, these 2 frames are pretty similar. It's just a little movement to his left. And then I had this smear frame right here, and this smear frame really connects the first keyframe to the second keyframe, and it's kind of that big transition right there. And then here we got to the second keyframe. And that's not all the frames, though. There's still 2 more. And that's because I wanted the hair to have a little bit of overlapped action. So as you can see, the hair kind of trails a little bit behind the rest of his body. And then right here, it kind of swoops back down into the resting position. And then right here, for the other layer, which is the mouth, I had some lip sync. So I can just scroll through. Here's the lip sync. And then I also had a little bounce right here. As you can see, like it kind of bounces like that, just to make it kind of the ending of the lip sync just look a little nice. So yeah, that's how I animated this part of the animation.
You know the time we took the long way home when we were on our own.
So that's what the final animation looks like with all the frames colored in and the background's done. I first want to mention that I don't usually animate everything first and then color everything. I usually kind of do it scene by scene, so like I animate one scene and then I color it to see how it looks. Also, for this specific animation, in terms of the coloring and backgrounds as well, I tried to keep to a pastel color palette that focused mostly on pink, dark brown, and white. But since there were those bushes, I ended up adding a greenish blue color for contrast, but I mostly stuck to that color palette. Now let's talk about the backgrounds. So I managed to record myself drawing the first background. So the speed paint for that will just be in the background while I talk about the backgrounds. So one of the rules for the map was having simple backgrounds with soft colors. So I tried to stick with very pastel colors and keep the backgrounds somewhat simple, because I usually put kind of a lot of details into my backgrounds, so this was kind of difficult. I decided to make the line art really loose. I used the watercolor brush and tried not to add too much detail and to give it kind of like a loose effect, but I don't really think I achieved that. I also wanted to make the coloring kind of, I don't want to say messy, but like kind of loose, and again, I don't really think I achieved the effect that I wanted. So although I'm not totally satisfied with the backgrounds I made, I think they look okay with the animation, and I didn't really feel like redoing them, so this is what I got. Another thing I will mention is I usually actually do the backgrounds before animating, but this time I decided to do it the other way around. So that was the final step in my animation process for making this map part. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something about my animation process.
You know the time we took the long way home when we were on our own. You know the time we took the long way home when we were on our own. You know the time we took the long way home when we were on our own.
Hello everybody, thanks for somehow getting to the end of this video, whether you skip through parts or not. Sorry that I talk so incredibly slow at some parts. Hopefully it was still interesting. If this video created anywhere from a neutral to positive experience for you, make sure you thumbs up this video, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, also follow all my social media, and join my Discord. Yep. Okay, bye!